Good morning, everyone. I'm out for a little walk. I think I'm going to do another chat video so I can kind of talk about some general things happening. One of the things that I've been doing is God told me to cancel whatever, any subscriptions I've got, anything that's costing me money, regardless of how much it is. I don't have any big subscriptions. I've gotten rid of those a long time ago. But, you know, $5 here, $10 here. So I'm cutting everything I can. Why? I don't know. I think that's just the sign of the times that we're going to be in, where we're going to be wanting every bit we got. So with that coming up, I'm going to go find myself a place to sit. And we're going to have a lakeside chat while I can. There's not a whole lot of the lakeside. The lake's going out further and further. So I'm going to try to have some form of a lakeside chat while there is still water. Huh? So one of the things that I did is I cut some Google storage. I back up everything I've got to the cloud, or I allow the computers and phones and stuff to do that. And by doing that, I don't have to worry about losing a computer or phone. I've got backups of everything. Well, God said, you don't need backups, I'm your backup. So I deleted my Google Cloud subscription. That's the first thing I did, because that's what he said to do. And then I got the message, you've got until September 15th to delete everything on the cloud that you've got backed up, or you're not going to be able to receive emails, etc., etc. So the stuff I need to have. So I've been going through for the last day, deleting things. 99% of it appears as, you know, videos here. I'm down to where I don't see what I can delete, and they're still saying I'm 15 gig over, and I don't know where it's at, so I'm looking for it. We're getting there. But that's not the issue. What I wanted to talk about is I'm going through old videos, old photographs, everything it's all backed up. I've got original copies, and I'm deleting them. It's sort of like the, you know, before you die, you say your life flashes before your eyes. All right, well, I'm going to come over here and take a seat, so I'm going to shut this down for a second while I transition. Be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I'm seated. That way you don't have to watch me bouncing around. I know how this thing is sometimes. But I'm all natural out here. When I edit, all I do is put together segments. I don't cut things in and out. If I mess up a word, I don't cut it out. If I catch it when I'm editing, I put what I should have said at the bottom, so watch for that. I'm not dyslexic, and I'm not where you superimpose things, but I do tend to get my dates mixed up sometimes, because I throw a date out for something I'm going to talk about in 5 minutes because it's on my mind. All right. Anyhow, so we need to be ready for what's coming. And so me closing out some of these smaller, I mean, I've got Amazon Prime, which is really good for me getting next day service if I want it, because that way I can schedule when I'm going to go pick up something and know when it's going to be there. Otherwise, I got to order it and just wait, and sometime maybe in the next week or so I'll go pick it up. But by having Prime, I can schedule it to be at a certain place at a certain time. I'm going to cancel that before the month's out. I had it up because we had Amazon Prime Day and we had the school sales stuff, so I've been getting stuff, but I'm not getting big stuff. Anyhow, the leaves are starting to collect. We're not into the fall weather yet by any means, but leaves are always falling off of trees. Okay, so I cut. There's a fly bothering me. I cut the subscription, and one of the things that I've been doing is I've been going through I already deleted all the videos, and I've been going through and trying to get to the level of memory they say I can have. I'm deleting pictures. Now, I have the originals. These are just backup copies. But one thing I noticed is that because I just never really paid much attention to the backup, every time it does a backup, it's backing up the same pictures. Them cheapskates are trying to make money off of duplicating pictures and filling up the drive space. So I'm getting rid of pretty much everything that's up there, but I'm getting to do the flashback. You know, when people die, they say they get to look at their life, you know, the flashes before them. Everybody who's gotten a near-death experience pretty much says something along that line. Well, I think it's an indication of what we're going to get when we die. If you die as a non-Christian, your life's going to flash before you in front of the white throne judgment, which will not be pleasant. Christians get the bema seat. Now, he's not going to pull up all of our past and show where we sinned, because he's paid the price for our sin. So it's gone, it's buried. If you lived a very sinful life, there may not be any memory left, but there should be some. But how much are we going to remember? How much of this world are we going to remember when we get to heaven? We know that all the prophets and all the things that they said that are in the Bible are remembered, because Jesus knows of that. And we're going to be like him, so how much of the world do we really carry with us into heaven? I don't know. I wish I did. I wish I knew for sure that animals, beloved animals that we've had, will be with us. Will we have animals in heaven? My guess is yes, but I don't know if there will be the ones that we had down here. I don't know. It wouldn't take anything for God to allow us to have our animals back, but animals have a short life, 10, 15 years for the most part, dogs and cats. I mean, parrots live a long time, turtles live longer, but most people have dogs and cats. You could have in your lifetime a dozen. Are we going to end up moving into our condo and have cats all over the place? I don't know. It's interesting. These are philosophical questions that there's really no answer for yet. We can pray that certain ones will be there. Animals don't have a soul, so when they die, I don't see them going to heaven unless God wants to just please us with having one or more of our individual pets that we had. I don't know. Well, you need a litter box if you've got cats in heaven. I don't know. These are philosophical questions. I don't know. So anyhow, I was watching my life go before me now. We do have a judgment seat. It's not the white throne judgment, fortunately, but it's the bema seat. And the bema seat is where we are reviewed on what we've done for Jesus on earth. People that we've been good to. Now, there will be some works in this. As a Christian, if you're doing works, you're working for God, that's worthy of acknowledgement. Not working to get to heaven, but once you're there, there should be works. Read James, the book of James. So we're going to get reviewed on that. We all get a crown, one, just for getting there. But then, after that, there's a mosquito that keeps... I don't want to get bit if I don't have my bug spray on. How many crowns are we going to have? And what does a crown buy you? We talk about gold in heaven. What are we going to be able to buy in heaven? Are there going to be stores in heaven? I don't know. We have stores down here. We have storekeepers. Are there going to be people that go up to heaven to be storekeepers? I don't know. Again, philosophical questions. How many angels can sit on the end of a pin if they all wore flippers? There's questions that we just have to have answered, but we're not going to get them answered until we get there. It's going to be good. That's all we know. We're going to be able to eat. Will I be able to eat ice cream again? Because I can't now. Lactose intolerant. I like a piece of cheesecake too. Can't have that. Are we going to be able to eat things like that in heaven? I don't know. We're used to getting together for family gatherings and stuff around a table to eat. How will we gather? What will it be like? Well, the creator that created all this stuff is designing it, or it's already designed, but setting it up for us. When we get to see the New Jerusalem, we're going to be the first ones to see it after God. He's already got it designed. We already have the plans already covered in Revelation. Will there be a tape cutting where they open up the new world and we get to go in and see? More philosophical questions. I'm assuming we won't ever be sick. I'm also assuming that we'll be able to, if not fly, teleport. They teleport back and forth now. Satan lives in heaven and he comes down here when he wants to be a pest. Most people don't deserve his personal attention. He's got his demons to do his work, but he doesn't live down here. Now he will be cast down here, but he won't be happy about it. That'll probably be the start of us getting ready to be raptured when he comes down here. Either just before or just after. He might come down here to oversee our destruction. Now, can I tell you when the rapture is? I wish I could. It's in that philosophical question time. It's only necessary to know that we've got one, that we'll be out of here before all the bad stuff, the really bad stuff. What we've got now isn't bad. Despite the individual pockets of badness that's out there, it's not the whole world yet. We're heading there. They're not killing Christians around the world. They are in pockets. These ever-loving Muslims are still killing Christians, especially in places like Africa. The leaders are killing Christians in Iran and places like that. But they actually do sneak Bibles into Iran. One of the teachers that I like, John Barnett, he talked about, I don't remember which country, but he talked about ferrying Bibles in when they were traveling, because they were apparently rather innocuous and were able to get in without being thoroughly checked. And they'd carry Bibles in and then hand them out to people, to the distributors, and then the distributors would take it on themselves to give it to people. They never made their couriers do that because they needed the couriers. It's hard to stop the world from, the world is still going to continue getting bad, but we can keep influencing parts of it. We can't shut Satan down. The Bible says what's going to happen. But we can maintain little pockets, little areas, sanctuaries for Christians and for good people. Not sanctuary cities the way they've been destroyed. The devil takes everything that we do for good, uses the same terminology, and then does bad things with it. God gave us a rainbow after the flood. They've taken the rainbow and then modified it. It's not all the colors. They've modified it and they use it for their gay rights stuff. He's a counterfeiter, and he's a cheap counterfeiter. I never had one, but I saw somebody that had a Rolex watch. It was Rolyx instead of EX. It was a counterfeit. I don't know who you're trying to impress if you're wearing something that obvious. If you're really going to wear a counterfeit, it should at least have the name spelled right. But Satan's like that. He's going to give the world a counterfeit Christ. Because again, he can't come up with anything original. He has to copy, and then it's never as good. The counterfeit Christ will be here. And they're all looking for the Christ. They will be surprised when they find out that it's not him. This is early in the morning. There should be people coming in here. But I'm just wondering, with the lake the way it is, how many people are going to actually come out. It's still warm. When it's hot and you've got a lake, you play in the lake. You've got to go through 30 yards of mud to get to it. That's not fun. I saw a boat yesterday, I guess. One of those fiberglass speedboats. And he was running across the lake behind me. And somewhere directly behind me, he's going along full speed. I hear a thud. He comes to a stop. I suppose they were looking for water coming into the boat. And when they didn't find any, he turned around and left. As it goes down, the bottom is getting closer. And if there's anything on the bottom, like logs and rocks and stuff, things that you wouldn't normally know about or care about, guess what? They can tear up a boat. So people are not going to bring their big boats out here. We've got a couple of big float boats that I don't think would go out in the water right now. They're just docked. They're doing this to drain the water level so they can work on the dam upstream. So you got to do that every once in a while. I wonder how they do it on the big dams like Hoover Dam. How do they clean out their sluices down below? Because they fill it full of mud, and they've got to be able to drain the lake. If it gets too full, they got to be able to let water out. I mean, they could let it out up at the top, but they've all got pipes down below for also doing that. And the water pressure is so high, I've seen it. Because there's a lake and a dam up in East Georgia, Tallulah Gorge. It's where they filmed the movie Deliverance. There's a good memory for you. But every year they let water out at the end of the rainy season, or during it if need be. And boaters and kayakers from around the country and maybe around the world show up for that because they announce it. And they get up there and they've got a big head of water coming down that riverbed, and they get out there in their kayaks and they're out there having a blast. So we've been there with the scouts when they were doing that. Got to watch them. I'm a little too old to be that daring anymore, but these young people can do it. So are we going to be able to do stuff like that when we get to heaven? Are there going to be rivers with rapids? Or are we just going to be dealing with slow, lazy rivers flowing around and you just sit back on an inner tube? If I got a body that can handle, crashing into stuff because I got a new body, I wouldn't mind trying rapids. So I hope we've got a fancy new world that we can play on. We're going to get a new earth, so it's got to have things on it. It's got to have trees and lakes and all that kind of stuff. What's it going to look like? I don't know. He created all this stuff. I trust him to create a new world for us. I'm looking forward to it. Continuing our adventure, but this time with God. I might try, if I get a new body and I can actually see, I might try surfing again. I tried surfing when I was younger, but I had to wear glasses. I've had LASIK now, so I don't need them, at least for distance. And when you're wearing glasses, when water splashes up, you have to strap them on because they'd fall off. Water splashes up and then they get wet and then you can't see. If you take them off, you can't see the waves and they knock you off the board. I tried surfing in Southern California and gave up on it because I couldn't see. I'd like to try it again with good eyes. Now, I don't live anywhere near the ocean now, and I haven't for the last 30 years. When we do go to the ocean, it's not big waves like this, like you could surf on. You got to go to the places that you can surf. My sister for years lived in Hawaii, and I never got in the water to surf. I did some snorkeling, but that was it. All right, I think I'm rambling now. The bottom line is, will you want your life flashing before your eyes and God's and everybody else's? I don't know who's going to see it. Certainly God's. The sin part will probably be blank. So will it be flash, blank, 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 flash? Or will it just be the snippets? I don't know. What's it going to look like? Still pictures? Like I was looking at. That was an interesting trip. I had a number of conventions that I went to when I would dress up as my Tony Stark character and other characters. I'd dress up as pirates and hang out with the pirates. A lot of them would go to drink. I'd get my token beer and carry it around all day in my mug. I've never really been a drinker. But you got to carry around something now. I have a friend that does this too, and he's an once an alcoholic, always an alcoholic, and he's got water in his, which I didn't realize for a long time because he carried it well. So we do what we can down here. What's the new world going to look like? It's going to be beautiful from the descriptions that were given. Shiny gems and gold and all this stuff. Keeping in mind all these gems and stuff were created by God, so He can replicate them as much as He wants. They're not worth much if you can just make them. So it's not the idea that we're going to have riches from that point of view. It's just appearance. They look pretty, that's why they sell down here. Diamonds look shiny and pretty when they have them, but it's mostly a marketing scheme to get you to buy diamonds. The diamonds are a girl's best friend, a marketing scheme, as has been many things throughout our history of modern video and radio. They used to advertise cigarettes on the radio. Chesterfield, this radio show is brought to you by Chesterfield cigarettes. And then they'd say some kind of a slogan. Go ahead and kill yourself over time with these. They don't tell you that. And they pretty much knew that they weren't good for you even back then. They didn't know the full extent. But it's advertising to make money. Money's not bad, but the love of money is. All right. This is enough of this chat this morning. This kind of gives me a day off. I'll work on a better one tomorrow. We have some scriptures. I've got it started in my mind. Till we meet in the clouds. God bless.